Welcome to the Are You Ready show with your host, Lady Rachelle.
Welcome to the Are You Ready show. This is your host, Lady Rachelle. Today's show is going to be very interesting. I am here with my niece, and she has a teenage son and a millennial daughter. Now, I don't know how many of you out there have teenagers, whether they're male or females, but in today's society, I know it's a challenge. We're competing with social media, these television programs, and video games. Niki is here today to talk about raising her teenage son in today's society and how it is at school. And we're going to cover bullying. We're going to cover sports and things to keep them busy. So first of all, welcome, Niki.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And like I said, Niki is my niece. And we're always talking about raising children because she is a mother and she now has a teenage son. Her daughter is grown and has her own career. And there is a difference between raising a boy and a girl.
Yes.
And I've been through it, and now she's going through it. So, Niki, first of all, let me give you a little background. Niki is a graduate of UNCC, which is in Charlotte, and she has a major in business administration and management. So now she's in her motherhood state and raising a teenage son. So times have changed, right?
Yes, very much.
Okay, so how is your son doing, first of all?
My son is managing. He is currently going through puberty.
Oh, wow.
Which is very different.
Right. You're a girl.
Than a girl's puberty. It is aggressive. It is, I don't know, shifting, I'll say.
Yes.
To watch him go through these transitions and being raised by myself, not having the experience of being a male.
Right.
Is very different in the way that I instruct him and try to get him to understand the ability to be a male and have feelings and express how he feels and communicate what's going on with him.
And I remember seeing him a couple years ago, probably around 5 feet tall or so. He's taller than I am right now, everybody. I'm telling you, I'm looking up to my nephew at 14 years old. I'm 5'6". He has surpassed all of us, especially females, except for my daughter who is 6 feet tall. However, this young man, what did he do? Pop up like a jack in the box as far as his height. So I know his body's going through that transition period. Because my son, his cousin, did the same exact thing. So what are some of the challenges right now that you're going through? Not challenges meaning bad, but I know a lot of people have teenage sons and daughters and probably have very similar stories that you do. So what are some of the challenges that you are facing right now?
I would say one of my major challenges is getting my son to understand that I have his best interests in mind, and that his friends do not know everything. Also encouraging him trying to get him to understand that the internet and all the things he sees on social media are not always true. Right. A lot of it is a performance for entertainment.
Absolutely. And they were raised with electronics.
Yes.
You were not, because I was around when you were born, and we had outdoor activities and we played in the neighborhood, and you were raised with a village.
Yes.
We were your village. The whole
Yes.
entire neighborhood, we looked out for each other. Now that is not there. You don't have the play aunties on the corners
Right.
that's looking out, because communities are so crowded now, and people from so many diverse backgrounds are in your neighborhood that you don't know who your neighbor is most of the time. So how are you keeping him, I'll just say, safe?
So I would call myself, and I've been called this by my oldest daughter, I am a helicopter mom. And I am very much okay with that title. I keep him safe by watching who he is with, making sure that he is always with someone that I consider safe.
Yes.
And I don't allow him to go any and everywhere that he would like to go.
Right. Because, we used to do sleepovers.
Yeah.
We used to love to do that. Yeah. You're
Well,
shaking your head now.
Yep. My children didn't do sleepovers, even if I knew you very well, because I don't know the people that you have in your home.
Right. Because, like I said, we used to be able to do that, and I didn't either. And unless it was cousins.
Yeah.
There were enough of you guys that, you all just entertained each other.
Yes.
But I'm a news buff. I love watching the news, and it sickens me to see mugshots of 12 and 13, 14-year-old young men. I know he's in school now. What grade is he in?
He's in ninth grade.
He's ninth grade, so that's beginning of high school.
Yes.
Bullying and things like that. How do you keep him okay?
To be honest and very transparent, my son actually has a therapist.
Okay.
Because he experienced bullying, a lot of bullying from elementary to middle school. Even though I stayed on the issue, speaking with the administration, talking with the teachers, that they can't see everything. They can't control the students when they're in different areas. I got him a therapist to make sure that the bullying didn't take him into a dark space.
Right.
To protect his life.
Yeah, because, like I said, I see the news. Yes. And I see what's going on. And from seeing my nephew, he seems perfectly fine. So it's working. Whatever it is that you're doing is working. And I'll say working now. Now. Because I understand, he went through a period where, and children, when they're young like that, they don't understand that. Right. Why me? Is normally the question. Why are you messing with me? I didn't do anything to you. But some kids are just not raised properly. They obviously don't take my classes on etiquette. They don't have my children's coloring books on manners and respect, but it's just not being taught. Right. And I know everybody in our family with the queen grandmother does not play. So they are getting what they're supposed to be getting, but the other children are not. So these children that are bullying other children, do they know that it's wrong? They don't care. They don't care. Wow.
It's almost like they have a joy seeing someone else hurt, and it's very concerning.
Yeah.
And my son it made him feel like he needed to not be so smart, because some of it was because he was very intelligent.
Oh my gosh, is he ever?
And I'm like, how do you get bullied for being intelligent? You should want to be my friend, because I can make you better.
I've had conversations with him, and it's like I'm talking to some college professor. And I hate when he questions me, because normally I don't know the answers. But it's so refreshing to talk to a young man. And this was when he was like 10 and 11.
Yes.
That he's so observant and he's so intelligent. And that's probably what intimidates other people.
Yes.
Because when you are smart, it shows.
Yes.
You're just a smart child. And a lot of children who are not getting the support at home, they're not getting the help that they need, then they just figure, hey, well, then I don't like this person. But your son knows that we are here. Absolutely, he knows, especially his uncles. So
he's like, wait, don't call them yet.
Because he's mature and he's going to be an amazing man.
Yes.
Right now he's a young man, but I know he has a future ahead of him that most parents would love to see their children fall into. Now, what is the difference between raising a daughter and a son now? I wish y'all could see her face.
Well, I would say experience, because I am a woman.
Right.
Raising my daughter is very different. The one similarity I did notice in both of them was when they were younger, they were not very open to strangers.
Right.
Like they were very, don't talk to me, don't speak to me, mom, don't let them talk to me.
Right, because that's how we were raised.
Yeah, don't let them speak to me, I don't know them. But what I found is my daughter, she took on the leadership early. Right. And she enjoyed it. And she enjoyed being smart. And she enjoyed being the person sitting in class that knew the answer.
Right.
Her confidence level was very different. She didn't experience the bullying he did.
Right.
And I think if he could have grown up in the same time she did, he would be a very different person.
Right.
But now, because everything is so, the kids are shut in, I call it.
Yeah.
They don't go outside. Sometimes they don't even engage in a lot of sports, extracurricular activities.
Right.
They just want to watch TV, play games,
yeah,
and talk to their friends on the phone. And I was like, at this point, I don't feel like the kids are very socially mature.
Right.
And because my son was a product of COVID, he's technically 2 years behind where he should be.
Right.
So he's still trying to play catch up socially from COVID.
Yeah. And some are not even trying to catch up.
Right.
They found a home with a remote control and social media. And that's really sad. Now, when I teach social skills to young people, the hardest thing is to get them to even look at someone when they're talking.
I agree.
They can't hold a conversation like you and I are literally looking at each other because we're having a conversation. When I teach young people, they ask me, can I just hold my phone in my hand? Can I just keep it in my, they just want to feel it. And that dependency on that cell phone is, one of them had her phone in between her legs, and while we were sitting, and when I told them to stand up, there was a cell phone in every chair. So each one of them had put their phone either under their leg, and just to feel. But when I said, hey, let's talk to each other, silence.
So I call that digital addiction.
Yes.
Our children, they know how to communicate only via text message.
Right. And that's a shame, because on a job interview, when they have to go make a presentation at work, they're going to have to use words and they're going to have to communicate, because although a lot of things, AI and all this stuff, the human aspects of being an employee, you're still going to have to get up in front of people. You're still going to have to be in meetings. You're still going to have telephone skills, because they only want to talk on the telephone. They would prefer to text each other 9 or 10 pages worth of text. But that still is not giving them that eye-to-eye contact. They don't know how to introduce themselves. They don't, because they won't look at you and things like that. So, wow. But anyway, at this moment, it's time for a quick break. When we come back, Niki will discuss some ways that how you can use social media as a good thing and as a bad thing. So once again, this is Lady Rachelle of the Are You Ready Show, the voice of the community. Welcome back to the Are You Ready Show. This is Lady Rachelle. And first, I want to remind you, if you need coloring books or if you need any kind of online classes to help you with etiquette and public speaking, please visit RachelleLoganMedia.com. Now, Niki, we're back. And this has been very interesting. I know I went through a lot of this, but my son was also in a different generation.
Yes.
So things have really changed and continue to change. So we were talking about social media and the impact that it is having on our youth. I like I said, I have classes on my website that will help teenagers and young adults deal with social media skills and also public speaking, job interviews, and things like that. So please, please, please visit my website. Now, is your son on social media?
Not currently.
Okay. And why?
I found that social media was taking my son in a negative direction.
Okay.
Initially, I put limits on it. I would suggest every parent from toddler to 18, if you have a student, a young person, and they have social media, make sure you have all logins,
Right.
and you have complete access to their social media accounts. There are people that prey on our children. There are people that reach out that should not, and it becomes, you become the police.
Right.
I have to really police his social media. And also because I want him to have freedom of speech,
Right.
but not say anything that could cause him harm or get him in a situation where he could get in trouble. Because as a young person, as a teenager, you're looking at it like, this is fun, this is entertaining,
Right,
my
right.
friends post stuff, but sometimes things are just not appropriate. Things can get you in trouble. I mean, you may feel a way about your school, but if you post something about your school and your school sees it, that could get you in trouble.
Absolutely.
So one of the things I'm doing is monitoring. He is not on social media because he posted some stuff and he was following some accounts that I didn't agree with.
Okay.
And in order to get him refocused and make sure he is focused on school, I took him off. And he will remain off until he gets back on track to what his goals are. Social media is not a bad thing. I don't see it as a bad thing. There are a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of information on social media that is very positive.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to manage what your children have access to.
Right.
I know people want to give their children a little bit of freedom, assume that they have this level of maturity. They don't.
Right.
They need discipline. They need someone watching out for them. They need someone making sure that they are okay and safe. It is too many things going on in the world currently that we don't want our children to be exposed to or pulled into.
Right.
So the best thing I saw to do was to monitor, make sure I had access, make sure I could get into all messages, see who he was talking to, what he was talking about, the things he was watching. And some things he probably didn't think anything about, or maybe he did.
Mm-hmm.
But if I deemed it inappropriate, we're going to unfollow that.
Right.
I'm going to remove that. I'm going to block that. I'm going to go into your account and do what needs to be done, not just ask you to do it. I'm going to make sure it's done.
And then all people, especially young people, have to remember that what's on social media is permanent.
It's very permanent.
And I've seen situations where people have applied for jobs, they've applied for, secret clearances and top secret clearances. They can find every post that you did from the very beginning. And then I don't think these companies have a obligation to say, this is why I didn't select you.
They don't.
And it's something that you posted. It could be that simple. And I've seen it hurt a lot of people, and I've seen it hold people back. And here I go again with this shameless plug, but I have a class called Post Positive, because I teach a lot of athletes how to do interviews and things like that. And some of them come to me and they say, but I posted this when I was 12 and 13, not realizing. So I have a way to help them recover. So there is hope out there for those that have posted things. I don't know how bad some of the things are, but I've been able to help a lot of people sort of turn that around. But when you're a teenager, you're very impressionable.
Yes.
Especially when you've had access to the internet since you were born.
Yes.
And children see their parents on social media all the time. So, and I know you take hiatus.
I do.
Several times a year, which I think is very healthy. And because you can get wrapped up into that world. And I mean, I'm on TikTok, but I'm teaching you how to sit properly, how to eat soup properly, and how to set the table. So there are things, like you said, that are positive.
Yes.
I teach people how to be the best versions of themselves. There are those that teach you to be your worst.
Yes. And
that's what's attracting young people, because they think it's cool to be bad. They think it's cool to be bullying. They think it's cool to set up a fight after school, or someone's always recording in class and someone throws something at a teacher. That is not cool.
It's not.
That is not cool. And I know people think that stuff is funny.
I think part of that is our children are not taught digital accountability. They have a lot of things that are going on, just as you mentioned, that they feel like it's cool, it's funny, it's cool to watch. But at the end of the day, the consequences of those actions are not shown on TikTok. Just the initial, what they consider, oh, that was just a fight, or that was just this or that. And I always tell my son and any other young person that has been in my life, it takes 20 seconds to change your life.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. And the 20 seconds can be detrimental, or it can be something that is a positive influence.
Yes.
But when your brain is not fully developed, and it's not until you're 25 years old,
absolutely,
you are easily influenced. And thankfully, mine don't do social media except for watch stuff. I get more cat videos and funny videos from my daughter. My son is on because he is a drone pilot, so he's always videotaping himself doing drone stuff. So thank God we got through that period as to where you are now. But your nephew knows that he has a very large family.
Yes.
And we are all there, making sure that he is going to be okay. So it's important that you monitor your children. And I have people who have toddlers that can't live without being on the internet. And then I have some friends that said, my son doesn't even know what a cell phone is because she has not introduced that to him. So
I would agree with the latter. If you don't have to introduce your children to social media, don't.
Right.
Introduce them to a book.
Right. Oh, yeah, we were talking about right now. And could you quickly talk about how they don't have books?
Yeah, very quickly I can say my son is now 14. He is in 9th grade. And as of today, he has not had a single book from school.
Wow.
He has worked on Chromebooks, iPads. They have some paper work. I rarely see homework actually come home.
Wow.
So it's very concerning of how they will learn and retain information.
Because it's all on.
So if you're at home and you've done a lesson at school, you're at home and you don't have anything to reference. how do you stay on track?
And then you have to go on
So
the
now
website.
I'm having to basically go back to school so I can keep him on track to help him learn. I'm buying books on Amazon to help him stay when he feels a little confused, like, okay, can we get a book?
Yeah. Well, and you know what? We're going to come back and do a show on that.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize that, since both of mine are out of school, but I think that's something that we need to look at, because if the schools are not doing it, then you have to do it at home.
Yes.
But hey, unfortunately, this is the end of the show. Thank you for listening. Please join me next week at the same time for another Are You Ready show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lady Rachelle of the Are You Ready show, the voice of the community. Check out my website, RachelleLoganMedia.com. You can find the link in the description. I also have an online school teaching public speaking, etiquette, and much more. I also wrote multiple books for adults and children that will teach you to become the best version of yourself. Thank you, and see you next time.